Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Stay Awesome Van Life. This week we're doing a Chinese diesel heater. This is part of the how-to self-build video section of Stay Awesome Van Life.
Gotta stay awesome. Gotta stay awesome. Gotta stay awesome.
Welcome to the Stay Awesome Van Life channel. This week, even though it's nice and warm at the moment, we're putting in a diesel heater. A diesel heater, a diesel Chinese heater, or otherwise known as a parking heater. Not a meter, a heater. Now the easiest and best method to get a professional finish is to use a 127mm hole saw. You can measure the unit, or you can just place the unit in the area you require the unit to be fitted. It doesn't have a brand name, most of them don't, and all your bits and pieces are inside. There's your muffler and everything else, and your fuel tank's in the bottom, and yeah, and your unit in the styrene there. There's a diagram of how the unit works, basically blowing fresh air over glow plugs to heat the air inside. Use sound deadening material to line the box or cavity where you're going to place the diesel heater, and that will be another layer of insulation against the noise of the fuel pump. On the fuel pump, I'm going to be purchasing a silent pump, a diesel heater silent pump. I've been working in the rain, and well, I'll be happy just to have the hole in the van today, the way it's raining. Choose your location, make sure all your measurements and everything are right, and underneath the van's right. That's a very important thing to have in your plan. So make sure when you measure on top, you go and check down below under your van. You might have to put your van up on a ramp or whatever, or squeeze under it like I did, which wasn't very nice. But anyway, you can get underneath there, get your head underneath there, check you're not going to hit any pillars or lines or whatever. Now here is the plate that comes with it. We won't be using that. We'll be using a turret mounting plate available on eBay for about $50 Australian. Everything on the wiring side of this is pretty easy. It's a plug for everything in a different shape, so you can't get that wrong. There's a hole saw, 127mm. Cost me $70 all up at Bunnings. That's for the centerpiece and the actual saw. So keep that in mind, that you might spend a few dollars, but you're going to have a better result. You could go around and just drill with a little drill bit in a round circle, but it's going to be very jaggedy. It's not going to be smooth. Yeah, anyway, I'd rather it nice clean cut so you can rust proof it and everything easily, and you haven't got as much rough area there. It's nice and clean, seals better, you name it. So anyway, for a professional finish, spend the extra dollars, get yourself a hole saw. One tip with the hole saw, you'll find the chuck on most of your drills may not be big enough, so make sure your chuck on your drill is big enough to take the hole saw bit. Mine wasn't. I went out and bought another drill. It only cost me $42, so that was lucky. After you've drilled the hole, put the turret inside the hole. Just double check, triple check that it fits, everything's kosher, and you're ready to move to the next step, which will be sealing the hole and rust proofing the metal. But first you need to file all the rough edges off the metal cut to make sure everything's ready for painting and sealing. The hole with the biggest cluster of holes beside it is the intake air and fuel line. So there's the exhaust. It's a short distance between the unit and where the air vent is located outside of the lounge there. You just cut that piping off with a sharp knife. It's like aluminum. It's very, very light, easy to cut. So that's cut flush. You put your register inside the actual piping, and you'll have a hose pipe at the back of it and one on the actual heater unit itself. Behind that, you put that in before you do this. So then you put this in here. You'll have the hose clamp the other side, get that in snugly, and then you tighten it up to clamp the other side when you've got a snug fit there. And at the front you can put 3 screws inside that plastic fitting, and that'll make it sit there secure, and then it's totally adjustable for later on when you want to use it. Beautiful. There we have those 2 hose clamps I just spoke about. Oh, I had to do this job in the rain. That was a bit of a pain, I'll tell you. Anyway, there's the pilot hole going in. So measure about 10 times, work out where you want it. Look under the van about 10 times too. Your pilot hole, when you drill it through, leave the drill out so you can see it from underneath. So check under the van, a must for your drill bit coming through. Here we are, just we've filed off the rough edges and we're spray painting the rust proofing on. Put a bead of silicone around before we put the turret in for the final finish, and there's 4 holes there. You just put some screws into the floor to hold that down and secure, and that's that stage done. We will revisit just to show you exactly what I'm talking about there. As I said, the stages here, you sort of got to chop from back to forward to emphasize the points here. You really need to get these right, so it's best to watch the whole video, and then you've got on your mind the exact procedures you need to follow, because you don't want to stuff it up. You only want to do it once. So it's best to watch the whole video, get it right, and get to a point where you've got the unit installed, and then you're ready to do your plug and plays, your negative positive wire, which is quite easy. It's already got a fuse on it, but I'll explain that in episode 2. But now we've got to keep working out how we're going to attack this turret installation. And there's the hole. We've got that done. We're sure of the hole. We've got perfect hole there. The next thing is for the turret to go in, and then all the piping, the intakes and outtakes. That's we'll be underneath the van next and show you what happens there, especially with the clamps, because the clamps can be tricky. And my advice is, with the clamps you get, the hose clamps you get with the actual pack, throw them in the bin, but make sure you go to Bunnings or the hardware beforehand and get better quality ones there, the same size, because you don't want to be straining underneath. There is the sealant down on top there, the turret. So we're all ready to go to the next step. And like I said, I'll repeat things here so you get it right. The insulation, as you know, we put that in, the rattle trap. That's to cut the noise down on the hose, the fuel pump, because they're renowned for being noisy and people can't sleep because it makes too much noise. So the whole idea of this install is have short distances between all the required elements to make the heat, so that you don't have the pump struggling and making a racket. So that's the plan, and hopefully it run efficiently with the way we've installed this. There we have the 4 screws in. There's underneath the turret, you can see the intake outtake. Intake has the more holes on it. There's the exhaust pipe connected to the van, pretty easy, just screwed up there. But there's the fuel intake in red. So you go from outside the van, inside the van, outside into there, clamp it on to the turret, and that's your fuel ready. I've got to put a grommet where that red is. I'll put a grommet from later on, I can easily do that. And we've already talked about cutting this pipe. You can have longer lengths of pipe and you can screw it around wherever you want in the van, but just remember this stuff's quite delicate. How I've done it there, it's bunched up so it's strong, it's not going to get dented or by anything that's in there. If ever you store anything beside it, it's going to be safe. It's not going to be denting the actual ductwork, so that's the last thing you want. And yeah, we've already said that you cut the ducting with a sharp knife. It cuts really easily. Just cut it a bit longer than what you need and cut it back, and then just get it where you got it right. Better to do that because it's so easy to cut than to cut too much off and being a bit of a drama where you've got to use another bit of pipe and you might run out for whatever you're doing. But I haven't. I've got heaps left over because, as I've said, with this actual install, the idea is to have a shorter passage from the unit to everything it needs so it can run at its optimal efficiency. That's the plan. Not big long fuel lines, not big long exhausts. So there's the vent secured in place. Just need 3 screws. The tank that come with the diesel heater did not suit my install, so I ordered another one off eBay. It's a 5 litre tank. It's probably half the size, but it suits the cavity where I've put the heater in, and it'll create a nice short passage from the tank to the fuel pump, which is the goal in mind. These heaters use a minimal amount of diesel. They're very frugal on the diesel. So I got some of these stretch loops, perfect for holding up your wiring. Your plug and play wiring, have it all stretched in the stretch loops, ready to go for when you do the next step, when you put the remote control in and all the other positives and negatives. So I hope that's helped. Our next episode will go on the final step of having the heater running and running efficiently. Like I said to you, don't think because you've got longer pipes and everything going from here to there, you're going to cut down on the noise. The idea is to have a shorter distance so that the pump's not struggling, it hasn't got as much line to vibrate and everything else. Anyway, that's my plan, and if you like it, follow me.
Hey you, stay awesome. Gotta stay awesome with the van life. Hey you, stay awesome. Gotta stay awesome with the van life. Hey, my name is Gary, and I'm a man with the freaking.
There's the Viking gang.
Gotta stay awesome.
Odin's warriors, they are. So that's the Queensland gang, Odin's warriors, as far as I know. Based in Capella. A little blue support vehicle. I bet it comes up from behind because there's a little blue support